Well, thanks for having me over today, Brenda. I'm glad we were able to get together and go through all the exciting things about buying your new home.
I'm excited.
So what are your biggest concerns about moving forward? We talked a little bit on the phone about it. You know, kind of your worries, you know, your questions about timelines, that kind of thing. Do you have one thing that kind of stands out that we talked about as your concern going forward?
Not really, Marnie. I'm anxious to see the stuff that you're going to show me, and it's kind of the process. It's been a few years since I've bought a home. I've been in this home about 10 years now, so I think things have probably changed, and so I'm really anxious to look and see what you're going to show me today, so we can go through it.
Great. So what we're going to go through today, we're going to kind of go through, I call what I give people the Bible of hopefully the step-by-step process you're going to go through. Everything from when we're looking to when we write an offer, the time frame involved for that, some costs you're going to be looking at so you can you know ahead of time. It's not going to be a surprise for those costs going forward. I'll leave you with a copy of the purchase contract so it's not the first time you're looking at when we write a contract as well. And part of what we're going to do, Brenda, is go over this agreement we talked about on the phone.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this is one that is new to me.
Right, right. Okay. And so I've been using this for a while now, but it's something that our brokerage does. We became a designated agency brokerage as of February 1st.
Okay.
Okay. So what that means is basically we are just outlining our obligations to each other in writing. Before it was a discussion, right? But now we're putting it so everyone understands and we're all on the same page.
Makes sense.
Okay. So how the agreement works is it is a written service agreement like you had when you sold your home.
Okay.
Okay. There are time frames involved, and everything's outlined in writing. And I'm just going to go through it here briefly so you can understand. We'll get started, and hopefully by the time we leave here, we're all good to go and we start looking on the weekend.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, so as far as the agreement goes, we're going to put here the type of home you're looking for, right? And you're not sure whether you're looking for, a detached home or a condo or a townhouse right now, so.
Yeah, so like I think we talked about that as I was thinking detached or, possibly an attached in some of the areas we're going to look in. Not necessarily a condo, but I know there's different ways to describe a condo. I don't want an apartment kind of condo.
Right.
I'm not opposed to looking at townhomes. So, the better attached, and I don't know if the verbiage is right, but the attached ones with garages and stuff like that. So whatever that means for filling that in there.
So what we're going to do is we're going to indicate both kinds of properties, single family and condo. Right? As the type of property, so that because you're unsure about that selection, we'll make sure that we include both in the type of home you're looking for. You're going to be looking in Calgary, but you also talked about maybe looking in some, like maybe Okotoks. You talked about something outside the city might be of interest to you as well. So we're going to put Calgary and surrounding areas here, just so that we put everything that you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Perfect. And like any written service agreement, there's time frames involved. So we're going to start it with today's date. We're meeting today and moving forward. And then typically, like you had mentioned, you're not in a rush to buy. With that in mind, I'm thinking 6 months. And if you haven't found a home in 6 months, we'll extend the date at that time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the next part of the agreement just talks about who the designated agent is. In this case, it's myself. So that's where my information goes. So the rest of the form here, Brenda, speaks to agency relationships. Now that was the form we went through at the beginning in regards to my relationship and the different options we have of working together. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Perfect. So that's what that speaks to there.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to look for all the properties available. We're going to outline obviously a criteria of things you're looking for, and once we've done that, I will make sure that any conflict of interest I need to disclose to you, so that's outlined here. So these are things that you probably took for granted before. When you worked with your realtor, you would have expected they would have disclosed conflict of interest. Really what this does is just put them out there so you understand both parties are on the same page going forward, right?
Okay.
Obviously, I assist you with negotiating. So that's something you had before and you would have expected again, but that's just another point that's put forth there. Okay. Now, the other thing that we need to know going forward, or just to point out to you obviously, is anything I know I'm obligated to pass on to you. And so that's what it's speaking about right there, about relevant facts.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's not my job to screen information and decide if it's important for you. It's my job to pass on everything and you decide whether it's important going forward. Okay? I have to obviously give all information in a timely fashion, and obviously at the end of the day, hopefully end up with a property for you that you want to buy. Here for the other services, you see I've checked yes on all of these. We talk about advertising for suitable properties. I'm not taking an ad in the Calgary Herald with your photo.
I hope not.
Yeah, to show that you're looking for this kind of home in this area. Basically what that means, Brenda, is just that, within the realtors in my office, I would say, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom in Cranston and, within this price point, that kind of thing, because we do have lots of realtors who have listings maybe not on the market. So when it speaks of advertising for properties, that's what it's speaking about. Okay?
All right.
I'm going to help with inspections when the time comes when we write an offer on a home. It talks about the appraisals. I would be helping coordinate maybe appointments with the bank, but at the end of the day, it's the bank that coordinates that, and that's not part of what I'm doing, but it does speak to my involvement with the appraisals.
Okay.
And of course, any property we're writing on, I will do a title search as well, so that we're making sure we're buying a property that is a good fit for you, there's no liens against it, or if there's anything regarding maybe a type of fence you can build, things like that, we know that going in.
Okay.
So when you make an offer, it's an informed one. Okay? The next part is about the fee. Now, when realtors go to work every day, it's kind of an interesting job in the sense we never know if we're getting paid. Right?
I don't know if I'd want that kind of job.
Well, you know what? We do it because we love it, but we work with people, and at the end of the day, we hope we sell or buy their next home. And when that transaction happens, that's when we get paid after you move in. So if you and I buy a home together, when you take possession, that's when I will get paid.
Okay.
So this outlines here what my fee is.
All right.
Okay? So I get paid through the seller's listing agreement. I'm not sure if you knew that's how it was done.
You know what, it's been a long time, and I don't know if that was ever explained to me, and as the buyer, I think I've never really known where it comes from, except when I know when I've sold my house, then that, obviously that commission is being paid from that, but I didn't, really realize exactly how much responsibility is put on the buyer.
Right. So this
if
is
any.
so this is meant to take the mystery out of it. Okay? So this is my fee here.
Okay.
So when properties are listed, it's disclosed right there what that fee is going to be paid to the buyer's realtor. So that's well known. Now sometimes there's properties that are offering less than this fee, right? And so at that point, the fee would have to come from somewhere else. Okay? This amount that's listed here.
Okay.
Okay? So there's a couple of options available. So one option is the buyer pays the difference. Okay? The other option is then we can write it into the purchase contract, and the seller pays the difference. So the best example I can give you where less amount is sometimes offered than this is possibly a for sale by owner.
Oh, okay.
Okay? There's some other listings out there, but that's probably the most common one that we might see that would have less than this amount.
And are some of those, you see the signs where they have, and I don't know the names of the real estate companies, but there's 2%, and you see those the lower commission ones that you're hearing more and more about. Is that what you mean in there as well then?
Yes, yes. And so what this stipulates here is the options of either going to the seller or the buyer. And so it's my practice that, you know, when at all possible, I will get that amount from the seller.
So then when we're looking, when you're sending me, you would explain to me how you're going to be sending me properties that are going to meet the criteria that we talked about. So are you going to still, you're going to send me, even if it's one of the lower commission rates or the lower, you're going to send me those as well?
Yes, if it's on MLS, right, which there are people who pay realtors just to put their homes on, so they don't have the same relationship that you and I would have or another realtor would have that is, you know, offering them full service. So sometimes they paid a fee just to have their home on MLS, and then that's it. They will never probably talk to that realtor again. So if we wanted to view that home, I'd have to contact that homeowner directly and negotiate my fee with them directly. So there can be risks to that, or some other things, challenges involved with regards to viewing a home like that.
Okay.
And what I can do is anytime there is one MLS and it does kind of meet that criteria we're talking about, a for sale by owner or less commission or both, I can bring those to your attention, and then we can make a decision what we want to do going forward.
That sounds good. I'd like to, I think I still want you to show them to me, but make sure I know that they're one of those, because I very well might make the decision not to look at that one, because I see the value. You're explaining to me the reason why it's such a low commission and they don't get the service, and I can see the value in why you should be paid. So I would rather either not see it, or if it happens to be a house that has absolutely everything checked off that I'm looking for, then I guess we would talk about how that fee would be paid.
Right. What I have done in the past is I've had clients that it absolutely is the right house, it's the best fit, and so I'm going to want to work with you on that, obviously. So we'll talk about it, and what I've been able to do in the past is negotiate my fee with the seller.
I see.
And typically I actually charge them more than this amount. So that's why it has the minimum in here for that fee.
Okay.
Okay, that's typically the only time that would apply, but because I end up taking on some extra duties with an unrepresented seller, sometimes that time and effort usually does account for a higher fee. And I will talk to them about that. And in the past I've been successful in being able to do that. So, but I will absolutely bring that to your attention at the time.
Okay, I think that sounds reasonable. If we going into a house, I'd rather know going in that it's that type of structure, because, like I said, unless it's the perfect, or what I think might be the perfect house, I might very likely choose not to see it.
Okay, great. Okay. So as I said, Brenda, I'm getting paid through the seller, right? And their listing agreement outlines the fee they're going to pay me. There are some realtors that charge their buyers a fee or a retainer. So that's not my business model, but there are some realtors out there. So just so you're aware what that's for.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so moving forward, my fee would be from the seller.
Okay.
So the other thing to point out to you here is as far as obligations for yourself, this contract has a time frame involved. We've already identified the 6-month frame, but there's also a period of time, 90 days after that. So if let's say the end of the 6 months, you've decided to stop looking for a bit because you've just had enough, or you wanted to take a little break, that kind of thing. And if you end up going back to one of those homes we've already viewed within 90 days after, then just so you know, I'm still obligated to get that fee. So I'm sure there would be, you'd be calling me if you wanted to see it again, but I just have to outline to you so you understand that just because this date ends doesn't mean our relationship ends if it's something that I've already worked with you on. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm hoping we'll find something before the 6 months.
I do too. I do too.
But if we don't, so that I do understand, so we don't have a contract anymore, and I go and see the house that you've already shown me, what if and I don't think this will happen because I like you and I think we're getting along well, but let's say perchance we do end this and I end up signing another contract with another realtor and we go and see a house that you how does that work?
Well, this contract ends multiple ways. One is you buy a house, so we've fulfilled our obligations. That's the happy goal we're all shooting for here. Second is the time period ends, so the contract ends. Third is if you do sign with another brokerage.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this really what you're saying is if I'm not in a contract with anybody and I just happen to go to an open house or something at that one house and decide to buy it.
Right. But if it's a house we've already worked on together, then there would still be an obligation there. So, but if you wrote another written service agreement with another realtor, then and moved on, then that would be ended. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense now. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So within here, it also talks about obligations that we have to each other, and so if your situation ever changes, you know, financially, personally, anything that affects your situation, and make sure you just tell me that, so I can always make sure I'm giving you the best advice possible.
So if I win the lottery, then we can look for a more expensive
Absolutely, I'd be very happy to to change gears for that reason. No problem. So I need to just clarify, you're not currently under any other written service agreements?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. And your information, is confidential, you know, forever with myself. So it doesn't just go for the time period of this transaction. So in future, let's say down the road, I'm representing a seller and you had a property to sell, I couldn't then disclose information I knew from before, so that you're aware of our role.
I didn't realize that. Actually.
Yeah. So there is information, obviously this contract is handed into our office, so we do gather some information personally about you, and there was that other form you filled out with regards to the identification, so that's all held in privacy at our office. Okay. So I talked about ending the agreement and how it can be canceled. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I think you were pretty clear on that we're signing it for 6 months, but if something happened, we could cancel it or extend it at the end of the 6 months.
So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fine, I think.
If there's any time during we're working together, during the time we're working together, and you have concerns or you don't feel like things are working or something just isn't working right for you, please let me know. Okay. I think in the past, before having to sign these agreements, if people weren't liking their realtor, they would just stop returning their calls, right? And you know, I always tell people, you know, it's like that bad date you go on and never calls you back, and that never feels very good for anybody. So let's not have that, you know.
All right, fair enough.
If there's a problem, let me know. We'll fix it. We'll try and fix it as best we can. If we can't fix it, I want you to work with someone who's a good fit for you. So if that's the case, we will terminate the agreement if it's something we can't fix. Otherwise, I hope we're, you know, moving forward and everything works great.
That sounds great, because I know that it was going to work the same both ways. If there's something that you feel that I'm not telling you or holding back or whatever, I want you to feel comfortable with me too, because I want you to find me the perfect house.
If there's any point I feel I can't meet your expectations, I'm going to tell you.
Good.
Because I'm not going to continue working if I don't feel I can just get the job done for you.
Sounds great.
Okay. So I think we've gone through all of this. Are you good we'll get it signed up and initialed and get started?
Sure, that sounds great.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So where do I sign? Okay, great. Thank you. So I guess right here.
Perfect. Thanks. I'm excited.
Me too. When do we start?